Hello, my friends. Have you ever wondered how events in the world could be influenced by the thoughts, beliefs, and imaginations of individuals? Today, we're getting into a story that might shift the way you perceive reality itself, a story that connects the power of imagination with one of the most significant events in modern history. It begins with a profound understanding of how the human mind shapes the world we live in. This isn't just philosophical musing. It's a testament to the idea that the inner world creates the outer world. Let's explore how this understanding played a role in predicting and understanding something as monumental as World War II. In the years leading up to the war, there were countless political tensions, economic struggles, and ideological divides. But underneath these surface-level causes, there was something more profound: the collective consciousness of humanity. It's easy to dismiss this idea. After all, how could the thoughts and beliefs of individuals influence events on such a global scale? Yet, when we pause and reflect, it becomes evident that the world around us is nothing more than a projection of the inner worlds of individuals. Think about this for a moment: every great conflict, every moment of peace, every technological advancement, and every cultural shift begins as a thought in someone's mind. When these thoughts align across large groups of people, they create momentum. That momentum, in turn, becomes the reality we live in. In the years preceding World War II, the collective imagination of humanity was steeped in fear, resentment, and a sense of impending doom. Political leaders, the media, and even the average person on the street were unknowingly feeding into this narrative. It was as though the world was collectively imagining the conflict into existence. But this doesn't mean that war is inevitable or that humanity is doomed to repeat cycles of suffering. Far from it. This understanding empowers us because it reveals that the same principle works in reverse. If fear and division can manifest conflict, then love, unity, and a shared vision of peace can just as easily manifest harmony. The question then becomes, how do we shift our imagination, our beliefs, and our focus to create a better world? It starts with each of us, individually, taking responsibility for our inner state. Every time you choose to imagine the best rather than the worst, every time you focus on what is possible rather than what is lacking, you are contributing to a greater reality. During the time leading up to World War II, there were those who understood these principles. They recognized that what humanity collectively imagined would inevitably come to pass. They saw the signs of conflict not as random occurrences but as reflections of the internal states of millions of people. And though they couldn't prevent the war, their insights offer us valuable lessons today. If there is one thing to take from this story, it's that the imagination is not a passive force. It's the engine that drives everything in our lives, from the smallest personal experiences to the largest global events. What you imagine consistently, you will eventually experience. Are you focusing on fear, doubt, and division? Or are you imagining love, abundance, and unity? Your imagination is not isolated, it's connected to the collective imagination of humanity. This isn't just about avoiding negative thoughts or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about recognizing the power you hold within you and using it consciously. Every thought, every feeling, and every belief is a seed you are planting in the soil of reality. What grows from that soil depends entirely on the seeds you choose to plant. Imagine if, before the war, humanity had chosen a different focus. Imagine if the collective imagination had been filled with visions of peace, understanding, and mutual prosperity. Could the war have been prevented? Perhaps. And while we can't change the past, we can learn from it. Let's explore further what this connection between the inner and outer world means for each of us as individuals. One of the most intriguing aspects of human imagination is its ability to transcend the limitations of the present moment. Our thoughts and visions are not confined by what we see, hear, or experience today. They stretch forward into the future, shaping possibilities long before they become tangible reality. This ability, while often overlooked, holds incredible power that can determine the course of our personal lives and even the trajectory of history itself. When we think of events like World War II, we often attribute their causes to external forces, politics, economics, or ideological clashes. But let's shift the perspective for a moment. Beneath these external circumstances lies a much deeper truth, the collective emotional and mental atmosphere of the time. Individuals everywhere were filled with uncertainties, fears, and distrust. These inner states fed into the global narrative, creating a momentum that eventually manifested as one of the darkest periods in human history. This realization compels us to ask some critical questions. How often do we allow our own inner fears and doubts to dictate the course of our lives? How frequently do we find ourselves reacting to external events without pausing to examine the role our own mindset plays in shaping those events? The world we see is, in many ways, a mirror reflecting back the sum total of human thought, belief, and emotion. But here's the part we must focus on: this mirror works both ways. Just as a collective state of fear can give rise to conflict, a collective state of peace and understanding can bring about harmony. Imagine if millions of people, rather than surrendering to fear and doubt, had chosen to focus on solutions, on mutual respect, and on the shared goal of avoiding war. While this might sound idealistic, history shows us time and again that seemingly impossible outcomes can be achieved when people align their focus toward a positive vision. On an individual level, the lesson is equally profound. You are not powerless in the face of circumstances, no matter how overwhelming they may seem. The world outside may appear chaotic, but within you lies the ability to choose your focus and direct your imagination toward outcomes that align with your highest ideals. This power is subtle yet transformative. It begins not with grand gestures but with small, deliberate choices. Think about how you approach challenges in your life. Do you see them as insurmountable obstacles, or do you view them as opportunities to grow, to create, and to move forward? The choice you make in those moments sets the tone for what follows. It determines whether you contribute to a narrative of defeat or one of possibility. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful idea: the ability to shape your reality lies within you. The world around us, with all its challenges and uncertainties, responds directly to the state of our inner world. The stories we tell ourselves, the images we hold in our minds, and the emotions we cultivate have a direct influence on what unfolds in our lives. Take a moment to reflect on this. Your imagination is not just a tool, it is the very foundation of what you experience. By consciously choosing what you focus on, you can direct your life toward outcomes that resonate with your deepest desires. This is not about ignoring the difficulties we face, but about approaching them with a mindset that seeks solutions and opportunities rather than limitations. Today, we stand on the edge of a new era. The challenges we face may look different, but the principles remain the same. What we choose to imagine, individually and collectively, will shape the future. It always has. So, I ask you again, what are you imagining? What are you feeding into the collective consciousness? The answer to that question holds more power than you might realize. In the end, this story isn't just about a prediction or a historical event. It's about you and the incredible potential you hold within you. It's a reminder that no matter what is happening in the world around you, you are never powerless. The power of imagination is always within your grasp. Let this be a moment of awakening for you, a moment where you begin to see the connection between your inner world and the outer world. Because when you do, you'll realize that you're not just a passive observer of life, you're an active participant in its creation.